Hello, my name is Justin Larshite, and this is my week one discussion for Introduction to IO Psychology. Question number one: what do you see as the biggest challenge facing modern workforce? In my opinion, two of the biggest challenges that are facing the modern workforce are competency and purpose. Competency, I see a lack of initiative, and with that lack of initiative, there comes incompetency. Um, that nobody wants to put forth the effort, and not everybody, but a lot of the situations that I come encounter with at stores or other professionals that I come encounter with, or any of those types of situations in the daily hustle and bustle that we have, that incompetency is pretty uh, well is broadly accepted, that it's like okay to be incompetent or not do your job the way it's supposed to be done, or um, uh, complete the expectations that someone had of you, or a client had of you, or a fellow worker, everything like that. So yeah, that's a big problem. And with that, I think purpose. When you have purpose in what you do, then you will make the initiative to go that extra step to attain that competency to then do your job well. They're both come together in the middle, and I just think that a lack of purpose leads to a broad range of incompetency across many professions. And yeah, I just think those are two of the biggest things. How do you think IO psychologists can help? I think developing better programs for training and placement, honestly. If you have better placement programs, then somebody will be better matched with the job they want, the career they want, therefore having more purpose and meaning in what they're doing, therefore instilling the notion in themselves that they need to be more competent and more of an expert at their field. Um, Another thing I like and I thought about was integration programs. Programs that can integrate employees within an organization to do various jobs, different jobs, to move around within that organization, to maybe find their purpose. Let's say they get hired for one job and they aren't really feeling it. Their production is low. A lot of problems are happening, and they think that maybe they'd be better at another job. Obviously, if that other job suits their knowledge and skills and abilities, then maybe integrate them into the other position. And you never know; it could be a great thing or it could be a bad thing. But that's the point: is you got to try, and you got to have the courage to try. I really like that. I've heard of many situations of companies doing that, of integrating already established employees into various different roles, and it actually has worked well. I.e., George Lucas's company, his special effects company. I forget exactly what it's called, but I was watching a documentary, and that's what that company does. Is they have editors do directing, and they have directors do editing, and they have model makers do computer graphics. It's just that's really cool. I really thought that was really cool, and obviously they do well. So yeah. Next, who do you feel made the biggest contribution to earliest history of IO psychology, and why? I felt after doing the reading that Walter Van Dyke Bingham made the largest contribution. Obviously, the other three made major significant contributions. However, um, uh, Bingham was one of the major contributors when World War One came around. He didn't receive formal training under Wundt, as they say, like the other three, and maybe that's what allowed him to not get so embroiled with the conflict, the inner conflict, and nonsense that comes with that ideology of Europe and things like that. Bingham kind of had a fresh viewpoint on it because he was American educated. He had a pragmatic approach of how applied psychology could be used for the government and the industry. That I like that. It's not all about theory. It has to be pragmatic. It has to be able to be applied. Obviously, applied psychology was the beginning of, or what the originally IO psychology was called, but it has to be able to be pragmatic. It has to be practiced. It has to be applied to the real world and have a use for the greater good. He was a main contributor and visionary of Division of Applied Psychology. He helped grow and expand applied psychology to many different audiences and disciplines. Was able to mediate Scott and Yerkes to produce a massive mental testing program of over 1 million recruits in World War I. The program covered recruit selection, classification, and placement. So I thought that was really cool that that kind of speaks about his ability to not get involved in all the inner conflict and nonsense of certain ideologies and work past those and have the emotional intelligence to do so, to then bring various people together to for the greater good. And I thought that really resonated with me. I like that. Made major contributions to the war effort through applied psychology. So he was just an all around. I liked what he did. It wasn't about the fact that he wasn't European educated or anything like that. It was who he was, the person he was, what he stood for, always trying to better the greater good, not for his own personal use, but for everyone's use. And I really like that. Last question. Have you ever experienced a problem at work that interfered with your safety, productivity, or job satisfaction? Yeah, everybody does, for sure. I'm the owner and operator of a handyman and remodeling business. So for me, it was a situation of a client interaction. The experience was I was asked by the client. It's a commercial contract in a large commercial building, and I was asked by the client to get 100 feet up into the rafters to then install some new lighting. And it's, getting a boom to go 100 feet up is the safest thing to do. However, I'm not an electrician, nor do I possess the licenses to provide electrical services, and therefore it's not covered by insurance, or am I being paid for that? However, the GM of this company and the overseer of the contract, let's say, hired me for that. And because it's my company and I like to always try to push myself and challenge myself, I did the job. However, it was very unsafe for me to be operating with that type of electrical voltage when not being insured for it or having the proper licenses. I have the knowledge, but there's other things that come into play when you're doing jobs like that. And that client wasn't taking those safety precautions into account and was only focusing on productivity, and therefore significantly decreased my job satisfaction because I wasn't feeling safe. I wasn't happy with what I was being paid. Therefore, I wasn't satisfied. In each case, discuss the relevance of IO psychology. This goes back to communication and proper conflict resolution. I think maybe I should have been able to assert myself more clearly and explain that I wasn't comfortable with that job. And by doing that, I think that that there could have been a more feasible option to take to get the services he needed. And so just that lack of communication, assertiveness, understanding the situation, understanding each other, those are big things. I think those are all aspects of IO psychology that would have really helped in that situation in regards to safety, productivity, and job satisfaction. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day.